A strategist is not concerned with victory, but with position. Niccolò Machiavelli. Kindness without strength is vulnerability. Moral purity without strategy is surrender. Goodness without power becomes a target. The world rewards effectiveness, not intentions. You must understand this immediately. Unguarded virtue invites exploitation. Strategic virtue commands respect. The difference determines your position in every human system. Power flows toward those who comprehend its mechanics, not toward those who wish it operated differently. Observe reality as it exists, not as you prefer it to be. Accept this or remain permanently disadvantaged. There is no third option. The naive believe in inherent justice. They expect fairness without enforcement. They offer transparency without receiving it. They extend trust before it is earned. You will not make these errors. The world operates through power dynamics, always, everywhere, in every interaction, without exception. Your understanding of these dynamics determines your effectiveness. Nothing else matters. Recognize the harsh mathematics of attention. What you freely give loses value. What you selectively withhold creates interest. Your time is currency. Your attention is currency. Your approval is currency. Spend these currencies with cold precision, never from habit, never from obligation, never from discomfort with silence. Strategic scarcity creates leverage. Excessive availability destroys it. Choose accordingly. Control your reactions completely. The space between stimulus and response is your domain of power. Extend this space deliberately. Make others wait. The person who speaks first loses position. The person who explains loses authority. The person who justifies surrenders advantage. Restrain these impulses ruthlessly. Your silence creates pressure. Pressure reveals information. Information provides leverage. Leverage determines outcomes. Perception precedes reality. Manage perception with absolute discipline. Your appearance shapes others' responses before you speak. Your composure communicates more than your words. Your physical positioning dictates psychological positioning. Stand deliberately. Move deliberately. Speak deliberately. Eliminate all unconscious movement. Eliminate all reactive expressions. Eliminate all unnecessary words. Economy of action signals mastery. Excess signals amateur status. Choose the former always. Strategic unpredictability prevents exploitation. Humans detect patterns instinctively. They manipulate what they can predict. Disrupt their pattern recognition systematically, not through chaos, through controlled variance. Establish baseline consistency first, then introduce calculated deviations. This prevents both manipulation and dismissal. You become neither exploitable nor erratic. You become formidable. Information is competitive advantage. Reveal it strategically or not at all. Never offer unsolicited information. Never explain unless explanation serves your purpose. Never justify your decisions to those who lack authority to question them. Knowledge differentials create power differentials. Maintain this gap deliberately. Share information only when its disclosure advances your position. Withhold information when disclosure diminishes your advantage. There is no middle ground. Observe without immediate intervention. Reality reveals itself to patient watchers. Most problems solve themselves without your involvement. Most opportunities announce themselves without your pursuit. Most threats expose themselves without your provocation. Watch longer than feels comfortable. Act only when timing guarantees maximum effect with minimum effort. This is not passivity. This is strategic efficiency. Master strategic positioning before strategic action. Position dictates possibility. Prepare the environment before making demands. Establish presence before seeking influence. Build reputation before exercising authority. The board must be arranged before pieces move. Impatience destroys positioning advantage. Discipline maintains it. The positioned player wins before the game visibly begins. The unprepared player loses while still believing victory possible. Be the former. Emotional regulation is tactical superiority, not suppression. Deliberate channeling. Anger becomes emphasis. Enthusiasm becomes acceleration. Concern becomes focus. Each emotional display serves strategic purpose. None escapes as uncontrolled reaction. Masters deploy emotion as instrument. Amateurs become instruments of their emotions. The distinction determines who controls each interaction. Boundaries establish value. They must be clear. They must be defended. They must be consistent. What you tolerate defines you more than what you pursue. The lines you refuse to cross reveal your substance. The behavior you refuse to accept reveals your standards. Boundaries without enforcement become suggestions. Suggestions invite testing. Testing diminishes position. Prevent this sequence through immediate boundary defense. Every time, without exception. Reputation is your most valuable strategic asset. Guard it mercilessly. It forms not from what you claim, but from what others observe. Each action either strengthens or diminishes this resource. Reputation cannot be purchased. It cannot be demanded. It cannot be explained into existence. It can only be demonstrated through consistent performance. Once damaged, its repair costs exceed its original establishment. Prevention outperforms restoration. Remember this: strategic ambiguity creates maneuvering space. Absolute clarity limits options unnecessarily. Allow others to project their own expectations onto your statements. Neither confirm nor deny interpretations that serve your purpose. Maintain freedom of movement through calculated imprecision. Commitment narrows possibilities. Reservation expands them. Choose expansion until commitment serves your specific objective. Authority flows from perceived legitimacy, not from formal position, not from declared expertise, not from demanded compliance. Establish legitimacy through demonstrated competence, through ethical consistency, through visible service to principles beyond self-interest. Imposed authority creates resistance. Recognized authority creates willing compliance. The difference determines your ability to influence without constant enforcement. Distinguish between battles and wars, between tactical engagements and strategic objectives. Not all conflicts deserve your attention. Not all provocations warrant response. Some confrontations advance your purpose. Others merely deplete your resources. Engage only when engagement serves your broader position. Withdraw without hesitation when engagement diminishes it. There is no honor in pointless conflict. There is no virtue in needless depletion. Timing determines outcome more than content. The right message delivered at the wrong moment fails. The adequate message delivered at the perfect moment succeeds. Develop sensitivity to receptivity cycles. Recognize when others become open to influence, when they become least defensive to suggestion. Strike then, only then. Patience creates opportunity. Impatience destroys it. Strategic positioning requires multiple perspectives, not just where you stand, how your position appears from all angles. The view from above differs from the view from below. The insider sees what the outsider cannot. The outsider notices what the insider misses. Cultivate the capacity to shift viewpoints without losing your center. This prevents blindness. This prevents surprise. This prevents defeat. Allocate resources with absolute precision. Your attention, your energy, your reputation, your relationships, your time. These prove more valuable than material assets. They prove less replaceable. What you consistently attend to shapes who you become, more powerfully than what you merely possess. Direct these resources only toward objectives worthy of their expenditure. Withdraw them immediately when return diminishes. Waste nothing. Judgment improves through exposure to consequences, not through isolation from them. Seek situations that test your understanding, not situations that confirm your assumptions. Growth emerges from the gap between expectation and result, between theory and application, between ideal and actual. Comfortable confirmation creates stagnation. Uncomfortable revelation creates advancement. Choose discomfort. Results speak. Explanations distract. Let your effectiveness argue for you. Those who understand will recognize. Those who don't would not be persuaded by words regardless. The need to justify signals weakness. The need to convince reveals doubt. The need to persuade demonstrates uncertainty. Eliminate these signals from your communication entirely. State, don't persuade. Show, don't tell. Deliver, don't promise. Direct power remains inferior to indirect influence. The former requires constant maintenance. The latter becomes self-sustaining. Your greatest effect comes not through what you do, but through what you cause others to do. Not through their compliance, but through their initiative. Not through their fear, but through their desire. Not through their obligation, but through their conviction. Create these conditions systematically. Then step back. Let momentum complete what positioning began. Coherent presence outperforms fragmented brilliance. Align your words, actions, and principles completely. Create an integrated impression that others experience as solid rather than scattered. This alignment builds trust without declarations of virtue, through demonstrated consistency, through predictable performance, through reliable delivery. Integration creates authority that fragmentation cannot achieve regardless of individual capacity. Asymmetric leverage points determine strategic advantage. Identify where minimal input creates maximal output, where small causes produce large effects. These represent the fulcrums upon which victory balances. Apply force precisely at these points. Nowhere else. Wasted effort signals strategic blindness. Targeted effort signals strategic vision. The difference determines your efficiency ratio and ultimately your success. Mastery emerges through daily discipline, not through occasional inspiration. Consistent application of fundamental principles creates lasting power, more than sporadic brilliance ever could. Excellence becomes habit, not achievement, not moment, not event, but consistent embodiment of strategic understanding, without variance, without exception, without compromise. The path appears simple. Its execution separates masters from aspirants. Never defend, never explain, never complain. These responses validate external judgment. They place others in evaluated position. They surrender frame control unnecessarily. State your position once, then maintain silence. Let results speak. Let time validate. Let reality confirm. Defense admits the possibility of defeat. Explanation admits the necessity of justification. Complaint admits the acceptance of victimhood. Reject all three categorically. Strategic language creates reality. It does not merely describe it. Words shape perception. Perception directs action. Action determines outcome. Choose language with surgical precision. Eliminate all qualifiers. Eliminate all hesitations. Eliminate all unnecessary modifiers. Speak in completed thoughts, not partial expressions, not tentative suggestions, not open questions, unless questions serve better than statements. Then ask with deliberate purpose, never from uncertainty. Control your physical space completely. Your territory communicates your status. Your positioning signals your authority. Your movement indicates your comfort. Stand where power naturally accumulates. Center of the room, head of the table, position of maximum visibility. Claim this space without apology, without permission, without hesitation. Physical positioning precedes psychological positioning. Always, strategic silence creates vacuums. Nature abhors vacuums. People fill silence with information, with explanation, with justification, with concession. Allow this natural process to operate. Do not interrupt it through impatience. The disciplined player receives more than they reveal. The undisciplined player reveals more than they receive. Information asymmetry determines negotiating leverage. Maintain this asymmetry deliberately. Appear dangerous but disciplined. Capable but restrained. Powerful but measured. Never harmless, never uncontrolled, never weak. People respect potential power held in reserve. They respond differently than to either weakness or unbridled aggression. Communicate that your restraint comes from choice, not from incapacity, that your composure reflects discipline, not inability, that your kindness emerges from strength, not from fear. This distinction matters absolutely. Reputation spreads through networks without your direct involvement. Your treatment of one becomes known to many. Your performance in one context becomes discussion in others. Assume complete visibility of all actions. Assume complete transmission of all behaviors. Assume complete memory of all interactions. These assumptions prevent strategic errors that damage long-term positioning. Short-term advantage gained through deception creates long-term disadvantage through reputation damage. The mathematics never favor this exchange. Strategic withdrawal preserves resources. Not all engagements deserve completion. Not all conflicts warrant resolution. Not all battles justify their cost. Withdraw without hesitation when continuation diminishes your position. Without shame, without explanation, without concern for appearances. Victory sometimes means declining participation entirely. The truly powerful choose their engagements. They do not accept every challenge. They do not respond to every provocation. They conserve energy for decisive action at moments of their choosing. Monitor patterns systematically in markets, in organizations, in relationships, in competitors, in allies. These patterns reveal opportunities invisible to casual observation. They expose vulnerabilities concealed from ordinary view. They predict movements before they manifest visibly. Pattern recognition precedes strategic advantage, always, without exception. Develop this capacity deliberately. It cannot be replaced by any other strategic skill. Project absolute certainty, not through volume, not through repetition, not through insistence, through calm, unwavering conviction. Certainty becomes contagious. Doubt becomes infectious. People follow the certain, even when incorrect. They abandon the doubtful, even when accurate. This psychological reality transcends rational evaluation. It operates at instinctive level, below conscious thought. Use this knowledge deliberately. Project certainty. Eliminate signals of doubt completely. Strategic preparation eliminates visible effort. Masters appear effortless because their preparation remains unseen. Their performance flows without hesitation, without uncertainty, without correction. This appearance of ease intimidates observers. It communicates complete command. It suggests insurmountable advantage. Create this impression through relentless preparation conducted privately. Never reveal the machinery, only the results. The magician never explains the method, only performs the effect. Control begins with self-mastery, not domination of others. External control without internal discipline creates temporary compliance. Nothing more. Self-governance precedes governance of any system, any organization, any relationship, any interaction. Demonstrate complete command of your reactions, your expressions, your emotions, your responses. This visible self-command communicates more authority than any formal position could confer. It establishes the foundation upon which all other strategic advantages build. Strategic patience outlasts tactical urgency. Most situations resolve through persistence rather than force, through pressure rather than attack, through position rather than action. Maintain pressure consistently. Adjust as necessary, but never relent. Water shapes stone not through power but through persistence. Your strategic advantage emerges the same way. Not through dramatic moves, but through unwavering position. Not through visible exertion, but through invisible constancy. Remember this when immediate results prove elusive. Never reveal your full capacity. Reserve strength intimidates more effectively than strength fully deployed. Capability partially displayed suggests greater capacity in reserve. This perception prevents challenges that complete demonstration might invite. The opponent wonders what remains unused, what resources stay uncommitted, what powers remain concealed. This uncertainty creates hesitation. Hesitation creates advantage. Maintain this advantage through strategic restraint. Always keep capabilities in reserve. Never deploy everything, regardless of temptation. Power requires no announcement. True authority needs no declaration. Genuine control functions without explanation. The more you speak of your power, the less others believe it exists. The more you reference your authority, the less others recognize its legitimacy. The more you mention control, the less others experience its reality. Let results speak. Let consequences demonstrate. Let outcomes prove. Words diminish what actions establish. Choose accordingly.